Hey, I'm Dr. Rich. In this video, I'm going to show you how I take a secondary impression for a denture. The first thing I do is I'll put 3 dollops of heavy body material on my tray. This material is just there to act as a spacer. I'll sit it in the mouth and I won't press it down hard. I'll just lightly put it in so there's enough space between the tray and the gums. So let me just dry that off a little bit. So now we start the border molding. And again, I'm using the same heavy body fast set material. This is just like it's a vinyl polysiloxane, and this is just the generic one my dental supply company sells. And so I tend to do it in 3 parts. So I'll do one side, put it in the mouth, and then do some border molding just on that side and in the center. I am just stretching the person's cheek, trying to get the edges of get the muscle attachment. So I want to capture an impression of the immovable part of the gums, but not the movable part of the gums. Because if you don't do border molding properly, you end up having overextended edges. The border is going to be overextended. Denture is going to come loose when the patient speaks, chews, moves their mouth around. So do the same thing on the other side, and it's tricky sometimes to get it in there without disturbing it, but it also will depend on the patient. Some people have very flexible cheeks. They can open really wide, and it's great to work on them. This person, a great guy, but his cheeks, he's got very tight muscles in his cheeks, so it's not that easy. And then the last step I'll do is the posterior. So this is the post-dam area. I'm trying to capture where the hard palate meets the soft palate. So this one I don't do any border molding. I just ask the patient to pinch their nose and blow. What that causes is the soft palate in the back of their mouth to get pushed down, and it pushes the material out of the way. And we just let it set up, and let's remove it. And now at this point, I'm actually getting some good suction. It's not coming out that easily. So that's a good sign that we're going to have a nice finish product. So final step is a wash step. I'm using same type of material, vinyl polysiloxane. I'm just using a light body material because this stuff is pretty runny. It'll ooze out of the way for me while I'm making the impression. And I'm just taking a spatula to spread it out a little bit to get a little bit more even coverage, get it up on the edges, on the borders. Back in the mouth, beards and mustaches make it much more difficult too. And I want to press this firmly in place. So remember, I already have those tissue stops on the ridge to keep it from going too far in. And then I'm just going through all my border molding motions, tugging on each cheek you want to do this before the material starts to set up too much so that it can be displaced. And then lastly, also have the person pinch their nose and blow a few times. And now we just got to let it set up. I will also have the person, as part of the border molding, have them open and close pretty big. And now the impression material is set up and it's in there pretty well. We got some really good suction. So that tells me we're going to have a very well-fitting denture once we're all said and done.